All righty, our next guest is me, and since you've already welcomed me here, would y'all mind welcoming my book, The Statue and the Fury, is right here. Welcome, Nick. Welcome, Statue and the Fury book. And then I tried to imagine, what would happen if I interviewed myself. So, as the author, I would say, wow, how'd you get this job? I thought Hawaiian shirts went out with Ferris Bueller. Oh, really? You've got a memoir. How'd you do that? You can't remember anything. I heard the only reason you got this gig was because Wink Martindale wasn't available. Really, the best parts of this book are written by other people. You got more quotes than State Farm. Well, you're the reason Garrison Keillor quit the business. Well, anyway, thanks for the book, Jim. I always can use some more kindling. Thank you. That's right. You do that too much, you go blind, ladies and gentlemen. So, I envision this book as Animal House in the newsroom. I worked in 1997, 20 years ago, as a cub reporter at the Oxford Eagle, and my co-workers were Johnny Miles, who's gone on to be a brilliant writer in his own right, and Steve Mullen, an award-winning photographer, and me, Wink. And so we were covering this great town of Oxford, it was those years before everybody had a phone. I think you had email, but you'd only had it a couple of years. And so a newspaper kind of still meant something back then, but we took the job seriously, but we also took it jovially, and we did a lot of horrible, nasty things, and it's all in here, y'all, all in here. So I went back to 97, and I found so many things happened that year, including the beginning of a radio show. Another Oxfordy quirk appeared in the late spring of 1997, the Blind Jim's Radio Hour, a one-hour bluegrass show broadcast from the poor boy bar, Blind Jim's. "I've never seen them lose," was his quip from the 1990s. Of course, he was blind and called the dean of freshmen at Ole Miss. In the spirit of his namesake, the bar was warm and welcoming with peanut shells on the floor. The food was exemplary and the spirits cold and sturdy, but still an unlikely spot for a live radio show. The show began in April and then left the air for 2 months due to a lightning strike on the tower. Sounds like now. It regrouped into the summertime. Modern listeners might use A Prairie Home Companion as a comparison, but in reality, the only similarity between the two was both were on the radio. Blind Jim's show was all music, and there were some comedic pronouncements made by Ed Dye, an elfish dobroist from Alabama, who had a journeyman career in show business and the Santa Claus beard to prove it, including a stint as a stagehand on the Ed Sullivan Show, plus a 30-year career as a Nashville bluegrass sideman. "I grew up on radio," he said. "It's not such a novel concept." The first show featured Brian Ledford on guitar and banjo, Caroline Herring on guitar and vocals, George Shelton on bass, Laura Weber on fiddle, and Charlie Cushman on banjo. Guests included Luther and Cody Dickinson and George McConnell. By the end of the show, they all came together for a 10-minute reggae version of Blue Moon of Kentucky, led by Dye wearing a frilly tuck shirt with orange suspenders and a Blue Mountain baseball cap. At the suggestion of the bookstore owner, Richard Howarth, they renamed the show the Thacker Mountain Radio Show. Oxford slowly embraced this new radio enterprise, named after a county fire tower out in Fayette County called Thacker Mountain. Midnight visits by carousing teens were common. Visitors could climb the stairs of the tower at night and do teenage things while basking in the vast, darkened vista. Some visitors were older than teenagers. But the show seemed to fit the community. You sit in wooden chairs in a former furniture store and listen to literature 3 blocks from Faulkner's house, then rock out to music from the ever-burgeoning Oxford music scene that included John Sterrett before he was in Wilco. One resident referred to Oxford's cheerful embrace of eccentricities, and that would seem to fit this new Thacker Mountain Radio. There were empty seats at first. The show continued for a year, 2, 3 years, 5 years. Thanks to Square Books, authors from every corner of the world came through with their books. Some came so often they became friends. Soon the bookstore was overflowing with audience, and this curious little radio experiment expanded to 24 shows a year. In 2017, we'll celebrate 20 years on the air. What other small town has its own Grand Ole Opry of literature? It's the Statue and the Fury, y'all, or a year of art, race, music, and cocktails. I'll visit with y'all afterwards. Thanks so much for listening. Is it time? Yes, it is time, y'all.